Beantown, your town. This is the Beantown Beatdown. Matthew Barris.
Gabe Shamus.
And this is our countdown to UFC 212. And actually, that Saturday, we're going to Buffalo Wild Wings for that.
Yeah, want to be fun.
And we're going to be doing a Facebook Live stream, 30-minute preview of that. So stay tuned for that.
Cheers.
Good Smirnoff Green Apple.
So good summer beers. Let's get to it.
Yep. Now our first match of the night: Eric Silva, great prospect, taking on Yancy Medeiros.
Here he goes again.
Yeah. So two prospects, two up-and-coming fighters. Should be a good night. By the way, this fight takes place in Brazil. So
Brazil.
Yeah,
Viva Brazil.
Yeah, most of the card is America versus Brazil, except for the women's bout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting, won't it?
Yeah. Also, Paulo Borrachina versus Oluwal Bambos. African. So that's don't know much about these guys, but should be another interesting bout. You know, again, prospects. You know, it's always good to see the prospects. You know, get a spot on the main card on pay-per-view.
Right, exactly. The up-and-comers, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And then we have the Battle of the Veterans: Vitor Belfort versus Nate Marquardt, and both these guys are at a crossroads at their lives. I mean, I think it's pretty much the end of the road for both of them, especially Vitor, who's been around since the early 90s, you know, the early SEG days of the UFC. And, you know, after he lost his last fight, I thought he was calling it quits. I heard he was calling it quits. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so when I found out he was going to be on this card, I was really surprised. But,
right.
You know, win, lose, or draw, I do think he should definitely retire. I think it's over for him. You know, he's been a champion at light heavyweight, at heavyweight. He's fought all over the world. You know, the UFC has paid him a whole lot of money. He's made a whole lot of good money. So I think now it's just time for him to hang it up.
Right. And so do you think it is? I mean, you know, do you buy into the narrative that it is better for these you know, fighters, these champions, to go out on a win?
Absolutely, it's good to go out and win, but
but given the situation this time, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope this is his last fight, and I hope he does go out with a win. But sometimes it doesn't happen that way, you know. And you know, win, lose, or draw, he should just retire, and you know, and that should just be it.
Okay. Yep.
And now we're going to get back to we have a double main event, but we'll get back to it because now it's time for your weak wrist. So, Gabe, take it away.
All right. So, yeah, now, you know, we're, everyone again is a little confused, a little angry, you know, wondering, what do we do? And, you know, in this crazy world we're living in. May live in interesting times. That's what the Chinese say, and that's what I always say when I want to be positive about it. But of course, you know, sometimes there's like the feeling that we're living in really bad times, you know, or like things are shaky, dangerous. But you know, that's not the time to lose hope. That's the time to find your hope again. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I'll tell you one thing. You and I are having a better week than Tiger Woods at this point.
Oh my God! Yep. There was a meme about that I'm sure there were many memes, but the one that I responded to was the big flashing like the Fox searchlight, you know, logo. The I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I know Tiger Woods is a great, sports legend, it's not about not being respectful to him. I am, but the other way to be respectful is, is to be like, yeah, this is kind of a fall from grace, but don't sensationalize it. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Babe Ruth had much more of this. They just, the public didn't know about it back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so obviously, what's on a lot of people's minds then, is also the terror attack in Manchester.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that happened at an Ariana Grande concert too.
Yeah, which really is terrible. That didn't sink in for me until later. That so many of her fans are a lot younger. So the age at that concert. I mean, some of them are teens. Tweens.
Well, her show on Nickelodeon is on reruns. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know she's, I would be the first one to say that she reached out to an adult audience and whatever. But we do actually have to, kind of deal with the fact that a lot of people there were very young, and that's something we don't like to think about with the terror attack and stuff like that. In fact, the only last one was the school shooting. School shootings are the only times we've ever had to deal with the idea of really young people unfortunately involved in terror attack, but now it's a concert.
Well, yeah, plus it's ISIS because they say that ISIS is connected into this, and of course, I mean, when I found out it happened at the Ariana Grande concert, I mean, I've heard about the death total and the people injured. I was like, oh my god, this is bad, this is horrible. And then I also thought, oh my god, is Ariana okay? And then, of course, it was confirmed later that she was okay. Thank God.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's the other thing. Just because you might feel a certain way about a celebrity doesn't mean you should wish ill on them. I said the same thing when we did talk about the robbing of Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
And that type of thing, and I said, I might find her very annoying, but I'm not going to, be anyone who's bad mouthing her when something like this happens. I'm glad that she's safe, as far as her possessions, hopefully they can be reimbursed, but if not, I'm glad that she's safe and that, Kanye came back to help her.
Exactly. And, and of course, after that Manchester, well, of course, she's going back to Manchester for the charity concert. She's bringing Usher, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, and One Direction.
So they're going to go back and do a joint concert.
Yeah,
at the site of the crime.
Yeah, and
that's good.
It's a great way for her to grieve and stuff like that. But I'll tell you one thing. After this, I mean, she is going to have security up the ass. I mean, forget the red carpets and the awards and movies. I mean, that's sort of expected. But now it's gonna get to the point where she goes to the bathroom. A little 8-year-old's gonna be like, "Oh, Ariana Grande," and the security guard's gonna be like, just go to the bathroom and get out. Just go and leave.
Right, exactly. No stopping, kid. Yeah. Anyway, I was thinking about this, and I was like, I'm glad that she's going back and that she's bringing more stars with her. I was thinking, yeah, she probably has to have security up the wazoo, but that's it's also kind of it's not the right time to it's not. I understand the response, but it shouldn't be the right response to completely retract, and to like not go out in public, you know what I mean, and to just have your security, take care of everything and do as little as possible. I think that's giving into the fear, too much. I'm glad that she's going back to the scene and performing again. I think that's with extra security, with extra precautions, but I think that overall is the right approach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to show these terrorists that we're afraid of them. We're afraid of them, yes, but we don't want that to like change our lives. We don't want it to be like, oh, now we can't have concerts anymore. That's what they were going for. That's what they wanted when they attacked a concert. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, they had heavy security when for the Cal Brook Errol Spence fight.
Yeah.
later, like last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They had security for that. They had. I mean, I know that there was security at a Fenway game this like last. I think it was either last week or this week.
Mm.
So it's. I mean, even though it happened overseas, it's like over here in the states, it's like almost every stadium is now going to be on high alert.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we do kind of always learn from this. We do always learn from from these attacks, better or worse. And I remember how we were talking about how other cities were beefing up their security after we got attacked in the marathon, that type of thing. So yeah, we do always learn from it, and yeah, we can better our security, but I think we still hold the events because that's what America's about.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know Ariana Grande. Some people don't. I mean, I've heard some people shit on her. Like one time, I think I told this story. Well, maybe not on air, but
Yeah.
I was talking to this girl who looks like Ariana Grande, and she was with her boyfriend, and we were talking about her, and she says like, I talked about her singing voice, and because people call Ariana a little baby Mariah Carey,
Mm-hmm.
because she hits those high notes and stuff.
Right.
And
Right.
she goes, "Oh no! When Mariah Carey does it, it's great. When Ariana does it, it sounds like she's being strangled." And her boyfriend has nieces who watch her show on Nickelodeon.
Right.
And he says like, yeah, but when she's on, I tell my nieces to put it on mute when she's talking because I can't stand it. I'm like, what? You're gonna do that to your nieces? And he's like, well, hey, I'm watching it. They forced me to watch it. They have to meet me halfway.
Oh man. Yeah. So I mean, I don't I don't agree with that, but I agree with that that when they're actually stars and when it's good times, when it's smooth sailing, then we can talk about which celebrities annoy us or are not are a little trashy and that type of stuff. But like I said, when something like this happens to one of them, you do. I think the civil thing to do is put that aside and then go to like, is she okay? Are we gonna
Well, yeah.
make sure she's being held to that type of thing?
And plus, the money that they're doing for the concert is going for the victims and the families. So
That's good.
I mean, she's
there was a lot more victims this time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So like, after doing this, nobody should ever trash her ever again, unless she commits a murder or something.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It'd have to be a lot worse than a licked donut. That's also the story is supposedly she licked a donut, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So like, we definitely hit the nail on the head there. I mean, we don't always like to talk about politics or stuff like this, but when real world stuff happens, even though we're a sports show, we want people to be happy and stuff like that. Right. When real world happens, we gotta do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good, bad, or ugly.
Good, bad, or ugly. And yeah, same thing with what my that's what my brother said to his wife. My brother's wife talked to him about this when he was in town visiting me and my dad. My half brother, his wife, called, and while they were catching up, she said, I don't know if you've heard yet, but I have to tell you this unfortunate news. And so she was the one who told him about the bombing over in Manchester and all of that. And he said, well, she was like, I'm sorry to tell this to you. And he's like, well, I'm actually, I'm glad you did because we have to be aware as well.
Yeah. Well said, man. Well said.
Mm-hmm. Cheers.
Yep. And now let's lighten up the mood a little. Talk about our double main event. Mm-hmm. Oh man, this is so good. We have Claudia Gadelha.
Okay.
Versus Karolina Kowalski's. It's Polish.
Oh,
it's
I actually do
K-O.
I do know Polish, sort of. Where here?
Yeah, it's Karolina. It's K-O.
Kokalkowicz.
And both these fighters have fought Joanna Champion, and of course Claudia has fought her twice and lost, and Carolina fought her once at Madison Square Garden. That was my birthday. I think you stuck around for that fight.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. She actually almost destroyed Joanna.
Yes.
And this fight should be awesome. This is definitely striker versus grappler. I mean, Claudia is good at striking, but not at the level of Carolina, because Carolina is a former Muay Thai champion. And
fascinating.
Claudia, she has a black belt in judo and jiu-jitsu, so this is definitely going to be an interesting matchup. And actually, I don't know who's going to win in that fight, but I think it's going to end in either a knockout or a submission.
Fascinating. So you're not picking a winner, though?
No, not picking a winner in that one. And then, of course, our second main event for the undisputed featherweight championship, Jose Aldo versus Max Holloway.
Okay.
And Max Holloway has been on a 10-fight winning streak. And of course he's the interim champion, and Jose Aldo is the real world champion. So whoever wins is the undisputed champion. Right. And and I do love Max Holloway. I mean, he's great prospect, good submissions, good knockout power. But on the other hand, I've seen Jose Aldo since his WEC days, and he's a tremendous fighter. So I'm going with Jose Aldo on this one. Okay. I think Jose Aldo will probably win by 4th round knockout.
All right. That's interesting. We'll see how that stacks up. After the fight.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and I are gonna have a great time there. And also don't get the blazing wings.
Once again, he throws in a warning about those blazing wings.
Yes, don't get those.
I have lived through your experience and will not be getting them.
Okay. And now we're going to get into our blast from the past. Next week is the anniversary of Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson. And I remember this fight because, I mean, of course, the world always stopped when Mike Tyson fought.
Right.
But Mike Tyson... I mean, this fight, everybody stopped, because, like, there was the fight at the press conference where Tyson bit his leg and he, screamed out those obscenities like, I'll fuck you till you love me, faggot. I'll fuck your ass, you punk white boy. And
no holds barred.
Yeah, I know. It was a different time.
Yeah, I'm keeping my mouth shut this time.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. And then... it was supposed to be in Vegas, but then they turned it down, and then Jersey, and then it finally was settled in Memphis. They went to Memphis, Tennessee for this. It was at the Pyramid. I think the Grizzlies just moved there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Vancouver Grizzlies that became the Memphis Grizzlies. So I think they just moved there. And also that night, in the audience, there was Shaq, Magic Johnson, Samuel Jackson, and of course...
Star packed.
Yeah, and The Rock.
The Rock was there.
Yeah. And plus, by that time, Mike Tyson was really... He wasn't the same Mike Tyson. This was after the Holyfield biting incident, and then...
Yeah, I was about to say. You said he bit his leg or something. I was like, when did he bite the ear? When did that happen?
No, he bit Holyfield's ear, but in the press conference for his fight with Lennox Lewis, he bit Lennox Lewis's leg.
Wow. And
actually, it turns out later on, I found out in his book that he was actually high on cocaine when he did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that would explain a few things. Yeah.
Yeah, but leading up to that fight, he had fought guys that weren't really great opponents. They were subpar.
Right.
And also Tyson had, in the fight with Francis Botha, his first fight back, tried to break his arm. He hit Orlando Norris after the bell, knocking him out, which led to a no contest. Then the fight with Lou Savarese. He was hitting him, and then when the referee went to stop it, he hit the referee.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it was like.
I guess I always wondered if that has happened, if they hit the referee by mistake. It seems like more of a full contact risk than refereeing like basketball or something.
Yeah, and nobody gave Lennox Lewis a chance in this fight. I mean, it was still the fact of people were still thinking like, okay, but he's still Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is from the streets.
Right.
He's still a badass. He
Right.
can still land that one shot. And that fight, especially that night in Memphis, Mike Tyson got taken to the woodshed. Oh yeah, taking off the get the branch, make a switch. 16 lashes.
OMG.
Oh yeah, I mean, Mike Tyson in the first round, he started out great, moving his head a little bit and landing some shots, and then later on in the fight, Lennox just started out boxing him, being patient, doubling up on the jab, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
And then hitting with some great right hands, bam, bam, bam. And actually, also later on in the rounds, Emmanuel Stewart, his trainer, was yelling at Lennox he was like, come on, knock him out, get him out of here. You got a dead man in front of you. He's finished. And, but what they didn't know was that Lennox had hurt his right hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he had to let it numb. He had to let it get numb. So that man's always jabbing and waiting until the right hand was better so he can finish him.
Got it. Fascinating.
And Mike Tyson's corner, I mean, that corner was just a mess because Ronnie Shields, his new trainer at the time, he was trying to talk, and then the other guys, they were trying to chip in and stuff. And one point, Ronnie, he said like, "Hey, listen, everybody can't talk in the fucking corner all at once.
Okay.
One at a fucking time."
Too many cooks in the kitchen, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just thinking about how it did seem like he was really baiting him out. That in the beginning I was like, why isn't he lenting in? Why is he waiting for Tyson to come in? And you told me that was a pretty good strategy actually, because Tyson you didn't know what he was gonna do.
Mike was a pressure fighter. He was a pressure fighter, and he's, even though his head movement wasn't as fast as it used to be, because it was to the point where you could really time it if you were that good enough of a fighter.
Yeah.
But but Lennox Lewis and his cornermen, they still had a respect for his power.
Right. Exactly.
He still had that one punch power, but that night it just showed that Mike Tyson was not the elite of the elite anymore.
Right.
He was no longer he could no longer fight the top 10, top 5 heavyweights at that time.
Right. It was interesting to see, because he definitely gave him some space and figured it out, and then went in, and then later on it was like, oh, now we see that he's really that he's really going forward. He's jabbing, like you said, his guy was like, you got a dead man now, that type of thing. It took a while to get into that.
Well, yeah. In fact, Tyson, that was actually the worst beating in Tyson's career. Everyone says like, the Buster Douglas fight, where he had his eyes swollen, or the first fight with Evander Holyfield, where he got knocked down, and then in the 10th and the 11th round, he got stumbled, and but really that fight with Lennox Lewis was worse. He had cuts on both eyelids, this one eyelid and that eyelid right there. Blood was coming out, and in fact, when they tried to put drops water on him and stuff like that, you could see him crying in the corner. He's like,
man.
Yeah, I mean, me and my brother saw that. We didn't see the fight live, but we saw it on videotape.
Right.
Because our mom had went to a friend's house to watch the fight, and we saw it on video, and we were looking at. I was looking at that like, oh snap, because as a kid I was still a huge fan of Mike Tyson, and seeing Mike just getting his butt kicked, it was just devastating.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and I think the other thing would help with Lennox Lewis was he wasn't afraid of Tyson, because the fights that he lost, Holyfield and Buster Douglas and Lennox Lewis, they weren't afraid of him. I mean, and remember, Mike bit Lennox Lewis in the leg.
Yeah, exactly.
He bit his leg, and and so Lennox just was not intimidated. He was just like, in fact, when they were in the ring and during the ring introductions, because they also had security like separating them, a whole line of security up there.
Really?
Yeah, Mike Tyson was looking up over the security, looking at him, trying to get the eye contact thing, and Lennox was just pumping his chest. He was like, "Yeah, I'm ready. What's up?
Come at me," type of thing, right?
Yeah, but of course, after the fight, after Tyson got knocked out, and he was being interviewed, Tyson, of course, he apologized. He said like, yeah, all the stuff I did, it was just for publicity. I knew Lennox back when we were kids, and it's true. They sparred together one time when they were young kids. And stuff like that. So, Mike was just like, yeah, that was just publicity. I love him. I love his mother, his children. Of course, it was weird because after the fight with Lou Savary, Tyson was calling out Lennox, he's saying like, I want to eat his heart. I want to eat his children, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, but of course that night it was the Mike Tyson of old was no longer.
So I mean, it was an awakening for you, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, baddest man on the planet. Even after losses with Holyfield and Buster Douglas, still like people in the hood and everywhere else, it was still like, oh, he's still Mike Tyson.
Right.
And, Mike, I mean, but of course, and Mike Tyson, he took one hell of a beat. And that was the one thing people still to this day, I don't think, talk much about is that, Mike Tyson had a wicked good chin. I mean, Lennox was hitting him with shots that would have, that should have already put him down.
Right.
But Mike just was able to take those shots. Even the fight with Buster Douglas. I mean, because in the fight with Douglas, it took 10 rounds to knock him out.
Yeah.
The first fight with Holyfield, it took him 11 rounds. Yeah. And Lennox did it in 8. So that proves to you how good of a chin Mike Tyson had.
Yeah, exactly. That's the type of thing people don't talk about as much, but it's a very good point, Matt. Very good point.
Yeah, in fact, remember when we watched the first fight with Razor Ruddock and Razor like backed him up and made his head go back, and then and then remember when he after he hit him, Tyson patted on his chin, he goes, "Yeah, hit me again," and Ruddock hit him again. Yeah, Mike was like, "Yeah, come on, motherfucker, hit me again." Bang.
Boom.
Yeah, Mike was just like, I ain't going nowhere. So that's what people seem to forget. He had Mike, for all his ducking and his power shots, he had a pretty good chin.
That's it. Yeah. Yep. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So it's a great fight. Look it up on YouTube whenever you get the chance.
Yep.
And don't forget, we're going to be live streaming on Facebook. I'll text you guys when we do, and now the alarm's going off.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end it right here, and we'll see you at the fights on Facebook this Saturday night. And from Beantown to your town, this is Beantown Beatdown. Matthew Barris,
Gabe Thomas,
Vios con Dios.